Can I have a proper good evening now? Thank you. All right, so grade 9, please put your hands up. Grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Ms. Meghna Datta, the part of HCB. Please, we welcome you on stage, Ms. Meghna, to join the panel. The official moderator of the evening. We have something special in store for you. Ms. Meghna planned out this session for all of us, and I'm going to see how it goes. Yeah, Ms. Meghna, I'm just going to call out other panelists. All right, the first panelist of the day, guys, it's kind of a surprise. I don't know if you're going to expect this, but it's kind of a reversed panel. All right, I'm just going to call out Nanjappa on stage. Please put your hands and welcome Nanjappa. Nanjappa, choose your favorite couch. And now I call upon Dhruva Umachagi. Dhruva, your fans. All right. Let's bring some girls on stage now. Because Aradhana is showing Nina, I'll call Aradhana on stage. Aradhana, guys. All right. All right. I'm going to call Nina on stage. Go Nina, yeah, there we go. And last but not the least, two important people. Careers Ambassador Akash Babu. And the school captain Hridan. And I'm going to please request Ms. Meghna to also join the, yeah. You have a. So over to the team. Thank you.
So for this session, we've reversed, and we have the students as the panelists. And the first row, can you hear me? Yeah. And the first row are all the speakers. So we're going to test, you're going to test if they are dozing off, they're paying attention, they're focused, and we will make sure that they ask you good questions. Or being naughty. Rag the moderator is not allowed. It's only between you and them. And I'm the mediator. So on a serious note, we want to hear their voice. We want to hear what they think about issues that are relevant for all of us today. And it really makes us understand. So when we do the session next time, we can take this feedback and make our workshops more interesting, more impactful. That's the reason why we are having it. And these 6, of course, there were a lot more students behind, but these 6 were the one who were with us through conversations over the last 4 months, on Sundays, through holidays. I think they deserve a big round of applause. There was never a boring moment with them. If you give them some work, it's done and sent before the next meeting. You can't have a better set of students who were shaping the session, and thanks to all of you, I think the entire school had a great time. So let's get on to the question. It's questions each, but there are some questions that are for all. It's very informal. If you're not comfortable answering them, it's okay. Okay? The first question. No, I don't want to sit. I want to make them stand. I'll ask Hridan to come up. And since we're not doing the, the fashion show, the ramp walk and all that, at least I want them to walk from there to here for the first question, and the next one you can sit. Walk smartly. So the first question goes to Hridan, since he's the school captain. We'll start with you. Compared to your parents' generation, can you give one good quality you have over them and one quality they have over you? And this question was framed by Jishnu, Karthik's son. And I think it's a great question, excellent question. So we'll start with that.
So I think for my generation, one thing which also I think, this is because I hear it from a lot of adults, my parents and everyone, that our generation is more aware. They have more capabilities. Like at this age, there are a lot of students who are organizing conferences, who are either running a startup or taking part in NGOs. You're more aware and you're doing a lot of more things. And that's a very special thing which my dad also told me that maybe if it was his generation or his class, they wouldn't have been able to do those kind of things or achieve those kind of things which this generation is doing. And something which the parents had, I think this is what they always tell me, that they enjoyed their childhood more than we are doing that. Because in their childhood, they didn't have to plan if they had to go and eat at their friend's house or just sleep and just have fun or just climb trees. Or they had a more free fun, whereas they feel that if today my generation would have to go and have fun, they need some pocket money, they need good restaurants, they need good dresses to be able to finally have fun. So, yeah.
Thank you. Dhruva, you need to walk nicely. Okay. How can you make more time or take out more time from your schedule to talk to your grandparents, to help you stay grounded and carry forward the cultural heritage? What qualities do you feel that they can bring into your life other than staying grounded in heritage?
Okay, I think it's really important to learn from our grandparents and to take out some time from the schedule to speak to them about what you want to do. I think just going for some morning walks, or asking them to tell some stories about their childhood, how it has been, so that it would really help us. It would really help us in resonating with them the values they want to share with us. I think one quality that I would like to learn from my grandparents would be is determination. Um, my grandfather, he built up his empire with a lot of struggles, and I'm really proud of my grandfather that every time I go to my house, I look at him. Wow, this is my grandfather. He has struggled so much and he's given me this opportunity to be able to study in the school. So he was determined from the start of his journey, and he still continues to be determined, even if he is getting aged. He always goes out to the factory and sees if everything is going right or not, if everything is fine. Do any employees need any help? Yeah, I think that.
Nina? You have to come up. That's not ramp walk. Ah, see, that is nice. If Earth has a world president elected by everyone, what qualities do you feel matter the most?
If Earth had a president, I think first thing I would want is transparency, because we see that there's no transparency between nations, or not even between the small groups that we have, small parties, what we can call. Next, I would like the world president, what we call, to be open minded and to actually make the voices heard, because there are places where people try making their voice feel heard and the government just does not listen to it and they just push it away. So yeah, the world president needs to be open minded, empathetic, and I guess yes.
Nanjapa? ask you the question first. Okay. Is patriotism fading amongst today's youth? Does it matter?
Well, to start off, I would say patriotism absolutely does matter because in a world where India is faced with so many existential threats and internal threats as well, we as the youth of this generation needs to stand up for what is right, and that is supporting our own nation. And no, I do not think patriotism is fading at all because as far as I have seen, on social media platforms, in the news, the youth are rising up to take a stand for our nation. And let me take an example of recent military operations against Pakistan. There have been so many patriotic posts and news articles written by young editors and young journalists. And as far as I can see, there have been, it has been actually an increase in the amount of patriotism we show for our nation. And there have been a lot of memes targeting threats against our nations. And I think this is very good coming from a generation that tends to take little to nothing seriously. Well, I think wherever humor is least required, that's where it could come to have more fruition, as it could help lighten the mood, and it could help fight a war, not with guns, not with bullets, not with knives, but with our own voices and with our own thoughts and with our own minds as the youth. And so I think we should not stop here. We should continue our patriotism and expand it to more online platforms like a few days back I was scrolling through Quora. It's like the school's equivalent for Instagram. I'm crazy for Quora. And I could see one in every 5 posts was complimenting our nation's progress. I think our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, he made a speech yesterday, the Independence Day speech, and a lot of reforms were introduced in that speech, and I saw a lot of that online. And this is what I love about Gen Z or Gen Alpha or our generation, that whatever we see online, we want it to reach the depths of the earth, wherever it may be, the corners of all creation. So yeah, that's about it.
Excellent. That's really nice to hear. That you already have something in your mind. You have to walk nicely. That's your wish. Okay. Your question is, how can you communicate better with your parents? That's okay, we're mixing it. How can you communicate better with your parents, and how can they communicate better with you?
Hello everybody, this is Aradhna. I would say communication is a very important thing. I'm not gonna take some lecture or something because I'm not that experienced too. At least in my home, I have a brother who is just done with his degree, he's working. There used to be moments in my house where he used to be in his room and his mom used to text him, "Oh, could you please come for the lunch?" I would come. And they would say, "Mom, why are you texting to call me for lunch? You could just come there." Mom was like, "It's fine, I have to come there, here." What I noticed there was, it's those small parts making us more digital, even in communicating with our closest people. Long distance, I understand, parents are there. Here, mail is like true God, Lord, whatever, because we can't communicate without it. But at least when we are in home, it's in many homes I noticed that. It's very digital. I think parents and children should definitely sit together, talk some real stuff which is happening, openly with each other, rather than, having that shield, okay, my mom's gonna think I'm not smart if I don't tell her the truth. Because I used to think, I'm going to tell I got first rank in these many subjects, and I'm not going to tell I'm bad at math. I used to be scared. I used to be like, my mom's going to judge me. Trust me when I say this, your parents would not judge you, would never judge you, just because they are parents. They're the ones who care the most for you. So just go ahead and be very open when you're having communications. Thank you.
Akash? Did he do good? Okay. Should countries have to share their inventions and discoveries freely with the world?
I think countries should share their inventions with each other so that um, when people share thoughts and ideas and inventions with each other, obviously there'll be a holistic improvement in the society. And when countries do the same, our societies will improve together. That's what I feel. Um, Let me just add the perspective. Let's say they do not share. So many, let's say the vaccine for COVID, so many countries came up with new vaccines, and if we did not share, a lot of lives will be at stake. So it would be better if we share. But also there is another problem. If all the information and if all the innovations are just open to one another, I think it would cause a problem called the free rider problem. That's in economics. In simple words, let's say there are 3 houses, and let's say there is no Wi-Fi password. Wi-Fi is free for everyone. So what I would do as a rational consumer, I would sit over there and I would want the other person to buy Wi-Fi, the router, so that I can use it. Now what's going to happen? All 3 are not going to buy because they'll just be expecting others to buy. That's what's going to happen over here also. If one country just, if all the countries will just be expecting each other to invent and innovate so that things may happen, but then at the end of the day, nothing might happen. That's also a problem. So I think there should be a competition, there should be some confidentiality, but at the same time, for inventions and innovations which will save each other, that should be shared. That's my point.
So we'll do one more round of questions, but this will be more like rapid fire, so I want you to keep it as one line. So quick answers, short answers, because after that we'll open it to the front row to ask you questions. Okay, so this will be quick, okay? I'll start with Ridan. AI and human intelligence. Can AI replace EQ? Short answers. EQ and HQ. How long? We'll see. Okay, give it as best as you can. Keep it concise. So can AI replace emotional quotient and human quotient?
So when the question is about AI replacing human quotient and emotional quotient, and AI replacing a lot of things, they're saying AI is going to replace jobs and a lot of things. So just a question to the audience. Throughout the changes happened in history, what is the one thing which has remained constant and never changed? Apart from that. Anyone? Okay, so the thing which has not changed is power and politics. That has not changed. During the kings and the dynasties, there were monarchies, they were ruling, technological advancements happened, countries were formed, a lot of countries came, we still had governments. We still had finance and budgets during the kings, we still have finances and budgets today. So if today you're going to say that AI is going to replace human emotions, humans are going to be more redundant, and you're going to replace programmers, people who have more awareness, who are more educated, who have they're paid more, they are an important vote bank. So even though these conversations sound really good on a lot of news channels and conferences that AI will replace, if it is at the cost of politicians losing their power, this is not going to happen, because at the end of the day, it is the governments which decide everything in the country.
Excellent answer. Power and politics. Nothing will change with power and politics. AI can't change that. It can help them maybe reach out more in a different way, but can't replace. My next question is to Dhruva. What is one of the things every child must experience or must have done when they are your age?
Um, One experience that I'd like to tell that every child should experience is uh, to be part of something great. For example, doing an internship. It might be small, but eventually in the long run, it adds value to everything. That's one experience. Um, One more would be learning how to learn. I think that's something really important because most of us don't know to approach the way we learn, approach to approach how to put the concepts into our brains. So I think learning how to learn is a crucial skill that we should be developing as young students and youth. Uh, Consequently, seeing upon the future aspirations that we dream of. Yeah.
Most important thing is how to learn. That's absolutely true.
Ma'am, may I add on something to that? Uh, yes, internships and learning how to learn, yes, but what a child should experience at his or her childhood is something, it can be something simple as making friends. Because that's when you talk, that's when you make connections, that's what will be helpful for your future. That's what I think.
I think acceptance with what you have, gratitude and happiness. If you can figure that out at your age, I think everything else will fall in place. My next one is Nanjapa. We'll come back to you. So we'll finish these 3, 4, and then we open it up. What's one change you would make in India if you were in charge?
Well, one change that I would make to India if I was in charge would be reforms on its judicial system. Now, I was writing my research report for Global Perspectives, my 10th grade, on this very topic, and I would introduce more harsh charges for perpetrators regarding violence against vulnerable individuals, especially women and children, and harsher laws targeting corruption in India, as I think that if we are able to mitigate these problems in our nation, we can go ahead significantly. Because you can go anywhere, you can go to Singapore, you'll see there's little to no corruption. And wherever corruption has taken place, that individual or organization who has indulged in corruption has been subsequently removed. And violence against women and children is very self-explanatory in India. Like every day, a large quantity of these individuals go missing or are assaulted. So, and most of the time, the perpetrators walk free because of a lack of evidence. And I'm sure that if the Supreme Court or the government is able to impose these reforms, then God knows where we'll reach.
Thank you, Nanjapa. Akash. Social awkwardness versus connections. Like we say, we are most connected today, especially because of social media, and yet we find so many students your age who are absolutely socially awkward when they meet physically. What's your perspective?
Talking about social media first, it helps in both ways. It can reduce the awkwardness also because it's more of making connections with new people or having a bridge between a lot of distance, right? We can communicate better. Not better, easier. And at the same time, it does make people more awkward and silent in some spaces because they use social media as a platform for everything else. They don't come out of their safe space and socialize and they don't talk much. So that's one point I'd like to add.
It's a problem that is only escalating with, each year that's going by.
That's true.
Y'all are in a boarding school, so I guess you don't see that as much because you're always connected. This problem probably happens outside, for the other students. Nina? Okay. What is the one message that you would like to share with all your friends? Parents tell you to read, mentors tell you to read, everybody tells you to read, right? That reading really matters even today in digital age. Why would you say that it is very, very important, come what may, AI or no AI, that reading is important? Can you share that message?
Why reading is important? Well, if you want to speak fluently and if you don't want to stumble, if you actually want to speak properly, fluently, and if you aim for good university as well, you can't just go with, hi, so myself, Nina. No, you cannot do that. You need a set of vocabulary. You cannot just sit here and aim for good universities while doing nothing. That university is not going to come to you. You'll have to put in hard work and then you'll reach the university. So, well, there will be something called as interview for every university that you apply for. And during the interview, you'll have to speak, whether you like it or not. So, if you want to speak fluently and if you think that you want to get into that university, you dream to get into that university, well, start reading because you need good vocabulary to get in.
I would just like to quickly add on to Nina's point. I definitely think especially in this digital era, reading with a book in your hand is very important. Reading with a book in your hand is very important because personally, at least for me, I tried one day, I was like, I'm going to read Atomic Habits no matter what. I was very lazy to go buy a book, so I was like, I'm going to try digital this time. I opened the book, and I was like, you know what I was doing? I'm going to multitask. So I'll watch Mr. Beast on the other tab, and then I'll read Atomic Tab on the other tab. I tried that, and I was like, at the end, I was just watching, probably a video of Imad Gadzi. I was like, I'm going to become a millionaire now. So a book physically keeps you grounded, and it's definitely like a person. It makes you feel dumb, and it makes you want to learn more, I would say.
So last question is to you, Aradhna. Should history be a mandatory subject for all students, and why?
I think students are gonna hate me for this, but it's okay, I'll do it. I definitely think history is a mandatory subject because I feel like when you study history, you know your roots. And a person without, I would say a plant without root is nothing, right? So it takes you back to where you're from, your tradition, your culture. And also, we've done a lot of mistakes in the past, also achievements. So looking back at them, it will definitely help you take informed decision in the future.
Guys, I honestly, it's my opinion, my perspective. I feel history can be summarized. I mean, now we need to know the mistakes that they've made and not repeat them. History is to know the mistakes that our ancestors have made and not to repeat them and revolutionize and actually make improvements and not do those mistakes again. So I think history can be summarized.
So adding on to that, I think in history we end up learning a lot of dates and when Akbar came to India and when these people fought or they had whatever ideologies. But we know a lot from history, but we don't learn from history. So how many of you know Chhatrapati Maharaj or Akbar and Prithviraj Chauhan? You know, a lot of great movies made after them. How many of you know Maharaj Pratap Savai Singh? Okay, like 1, 2. So if you see, every emperor in that time had a huge statue with a horse and a sword. Maharaja Sawai Singh was the only Maharaja till date. If you go to Jaipur, he was the Maharaja of Jaipur. He is the only Maharaja with a book in the hand. Now, why is that important? Is because while the history taught you a lot of glorified all these warriors that fighting for the nation, fighting for the motherland, at the end of the day, if you look at Prithviraj, I'm nothing against any belief, but if you look at the history, Prithviraj Chauhan, after his war, the Mughal dynasty took over his kingdom. Due to the war, men had to work out, and the women were always in the home. So eventually, over time, even though the reason why women were working at home was because the country had to go to war, eventually people, even when the war was not happening, the women were still kept at home. So that was a negative consequence of the war, but we end up glorifying such warriors. In contrast, Maharaja Sawai Singh, he is known for being a great architect. There are a lot of UNESCO heritage sites in India, in Jaipur, like the Hawa Mahal, and these are very expensive in economic value. But we do not end up celebrating or learning from these people. So I think with AI also coming, we can make history very specific. Like if I am interested in chemistry, then history for me the curriculum for me should be learning about failures of past chemists and why did they do that.
I'd like to add a note on that, why this question was even added. Because history usually, like you said, it's about dates and wars, but it's not that. History is about culture, history is about their intelligence on how they solved problems, not just their mistakes, their philosophy, the art, the music, the architecture, the technology. I don't think we are able to, especially with architecture, there's so many marvels that we've still not able to figure out, and that's history too. Unraveling the marvels, unraveling the mysteries. And if history could just change that way, I think everybody would love it. So with that, we open up to questions. And before that, how did they do? Now we've opened up to questions. Let's see which of the panelists will raise their hand first. Not a single hand. No, but first it has to come from you. See?
A question before that, for your question on what was the question? Not the question. So, what a student should learn is something which I think she had an answer for it. I'll let her answer, then I'll come back to the question.
One thing I think a student must learn, like at a young age, is accepting failure. Because I think the best way you learn something is through failing. Like, for example, if you never failed, like walking, if you never fell down 100 times, you would never have learned how to walk. Similarly, if you've never failed, like getting what you wanted, let's say a top score in an exam, you would never know what mistake you made. So I think accepting failure is like one of the keystones to like becoming a better student and a better person.
Thank you, thank you. So yeah, coming to the question, this too anyone can answer. I think we all know that it's been 3, 4, 5 months of your amazing planning and you have already come to day one end, right? What is that one thing which you really envisioned in terms of like this how it's gonna be, which has not turned out well, because I also start from failure, and one thing which you thought would not go the way you thought it would, but went really brilliantly well today. And this I'm talking about FIU. Okay. It's been 5 months since you guys have been planning this event, which is FIU, which is Future is Us or Future is You guys. Day one is coming to an end. Yes. So 2 questions. One, something which you envisioned will go amazingly well, but didn't go the way you thought it would. And something which you really thought would not be going really well, but turned off brilliantly well for you guys.
Honestly, we expected all the speakers to be super formal, super duper formal, and all of the speakers to be like a different level speakers. So we were like ready. We were ready with like cupped hands. We were like, okay, Howard Alims are coming. We have to be, we have to be good. We have to show our best. But then things turned out to be pretty casual and nice, and it was amazing. It didn't feel, it didn't feel like we were being missed out or we were being too formal. It was fun.
To add on, for the first question, I don't think there's any answer required for that because everything went perfectly well as we planned. And as Nina said, through the sessions, we've been talking to all the speakers, and we never expected them to be so, cool, casual, informal. We were having a lot of fun yesterday, like chit chatting. I think that's really something I didn't expect of Harvard alumni. I thought they would be like Howard, but yeah, that's something that I'm really happy about to see it from you guys.
Honestly, my first video call with Mr. Sriram, I remember I was super nervous because I didn't know anything about him and I was just coming on the video call with zero knowledge. I was just coming on the video call. And it turned out that he was jogging on the video call. He was jogging and his phone was here and he is jogging and he is talking and I was like, okay, cool.
Yesterday, we had lots of time, cracking jokes with Prashant. He's not here right now. I think that was the most exciting, the best part of the entire event, I think, in my opinion. We were cracking jokes. We were sitting for like 30 minutes. People were speaking on the stage, and we were sneaking up behind and like, what? What is this guy speaking? It's like,
We'll take one more question.
Multiple questions. Bhanu, go. After you. When you grow up, do you think the country should still have income tax or not? Noted.
Check. I would say yes, the country should have income tax, but not at this level. Now we have what, 30% income tax? No, we don't require in future if the India develops. The income tax is one of the main income sources for the government. So by that, it improves technological improvement and infrastructure, all of that. So I think it should be still there.
Before we move on, sir, was it a political perspective-based question you were asking?
It is purely a household-related question.
Then I don't think that no one would want to have income tax.
This
Okay.
question is for Nanjappa. So, as you talked about patriotism, what is your opinion about the Nazis? So, what do you think? What the Nazis did were correct or wrong, and why do you like the Nazis so much?
Well, interesting question, Vihan. See, right, I don't know where you got these notions from that I support the Nazi party in any way, shape, or form. But all I would like to say is that no, publicly I do not support the Nazis. They have done many atrocities, especially to the Jewish population, and I think these are very condemnable. And now the relevance for support for Jews is at its highest, with a lot of deaths happening in Israel, which is predominantly a Jewish nation. And secondly, the Nazis' methods for extermination were very unethical. And I think that anyone who supports the Nazis and their ways should seriously reconsider their motives. And in conclusion, I would like to say, I'm sorry for being a hypocrite, everyone.
Nanjappa, I think you answered a very sensitive question very well. So I would like Nishant to ask.
Uh, what I want is a real answer and not a right answer from you guys. what is something parents don't understand about you at this stage? What is something parents don't understand about your lives at this point? Anyone can answer.
Life. They will talk about academics, co-curricular, oh, what are you doing in school? Oh, how are your friends doing? Talk about life. I mean, I remember, this is open. I, okay.
Go on, go on.
I had a crush. I told my dad about it first time. I told my dad about it. My dad took me on a drive and he sat down explaining me the difference between crush and love. Like, understand, please comprehend. Please, so like, yeah, talk about life. Talk about life. Like, understand that we know things.
So, what all would you like your parents to understand about life?
Just understand that we know things, but we don't know things. The thing is, parents are very complicated. One point, they will go like, now you're old enough to do this. Another point, they will be like, you're still a kid. What are we?
Yeah, Ninjappa.
Well, one thing I think our parents should understand is that we teens can have financial freedom as well. Okay? If you give us money, we are going to spend it on what we want. Okay? Not what you think is economically viable. So, the other day, I was in Singapore, and I had gone on a science camp at NUS, and I had some money with me. So we had gone to this mall, and very nice mall. I just happened to stroll into a Nike store, okay? And at that Nike store, there was this very nice running shoe that I desired, okay? My previous running shoe was completely torn out, and I thought, my parents have given me this money for what? To keep in my wallet so that it can rot from rust. I said, no, I'm going to spend it today. And that's what I did. I spent 190 Singaporean dollars on a shirt and shoes. Okay, then I called my dad. Hi, Dad. Yeah, I'm fine. Then he said, what are you doing right now? And I said, we're at the shopping mall. He said, oh, you got anything? I said, yeah, I got a couple of things from Nike. He said, how much did they cost? I'm like, sorry? How much did the shoes cost? How much did whatever you buy cost? And I told him about 190 bucks. 190 bucks! Go back to the store and return it right now, or else you will not be getting anything from me in the next 1 year. So that's what I did. I went back to the store, politely said, may I please return this? And I got my money back. And the satisfaction I got after that, I don't think anything can give me the satisfaction. And my heart rate went from 150, I think it was 150, it felt like that, and to a normal rate. And yeah, I think that's one thing parents really need to understand.
Well, Nanjappa's parents compensated for the Universal Studios Express pass. Yeah.
Also, please don't suddenly be cool. Like my dad just texted me with sup. No, that is not how it works. It's really weird finding your email with sup, what's up from your parents. No, don't suddenly change it. Like, go slow. Like one point you will be like, get marks, and another point you're like, what's up? No, please don't do that.
Okay. Do all of you read books? Do you like reading books? Whatever genre of books. Do you like reading books, all of you? Any kind of book?
Non-fiction.
Okay, whatever kind of book, right? Okay. So my question is, when you're reading a book, who are you reading? When you're reading a book, who are you reading?
honestly, I feel when you're reading the book, you're a part of the book. You just get into the book. It's like you're just in the book. So you're reading, you're imagining yourself in the book.
Perfect.
I think because I read nonfiction, so when I'm reading a book, I just said, who are you reading? Someone who I want to become, something which I want to remove or add in myself. Keeping that in mind is what I will be reading.
You wanted to say
I think we'll give a chance to some
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
students to ask the questions.
So for
After
me, I'll
this.
just close the question. For me, whenever you are reading a book, you're actually reading yourself through the book, right? So keep this eye open that when you're reading a text, you're really not reading the author, you're reading your interpretation of the author's words. So you're actually reading yourself. Over to you.
Okay, first of all, we're having the time of our lives. So there's just, focusing on the impact and good. So there's a famous African saying that until the lion writes the story, the hunter is always the hero, which means that, you need to amplify your voice so that your story is heard. I'd like to understand from any of you how you've amplified your voice for the impact of others. Any stories that we could learn from?
How have you amplified your voice to be a change maker? Even if it's a small change, but impactful.
Um, I'll answer that. Well, according to me, I recently participated in the elocution competition, and I spoke about poverty and the ways to maintain peace. Yeah. So I think that's one way how I reached out to the people.
That's fantastic.
I would say when I have conversation with many of them, whoever I network, they always tend to keep talking about success. So what I do is, at least when I talk to my juniors or my friends, I try and emphasize failure, saying you learn from failure. You don't learn many things from success as you learn from failure, because I think the society thinks if you fail, you're done. Your life that's the end. You're full stop. No, that's where it begins. Most of the people don't understand that. So giving different perspectives, I think, is a way to reach out and create an
Fabulous.
impact.
Yes, wear failure like a badge of honor. Yeah.
I think as they say that the change will start at the home itself. So I think in a lot of Indian traditional families, because I've seen it in my family, I've seen it in the neighbors who live around me, because I live in a very close-knit building where everyone is very familiar with each other. I think one thing which I noticed was that, especially if the women of the house, and especially if they are a homemaker, uh, a lot of times, I mean, it's not out of disrespect, it's just a natural, innate thing in the men of the house to jokingly criticize or make those husband jokes or do whatever. And I think I'm a mama's boy, so I've seen it. Like, my mom doesn't like that. And a lot of my aunts don't like that.
Good observation.
So I have, and my sister is here in the audience, so I have at times told my dad straight on the face, I've told a lot of elders in the family on the face that that's not how you talk to them, and this is not what they are seeking. Even they deserve this, and even they have their own wants, and even they want certain things, so yeah.
Amazing. Stand up for the women in your life. Amazing. Yeah. Fabulous. Yeah.
Check. I have amplified my voice a lot of times, but most of the times it's for giving people reality checks about what they are doing and what wrong they are doing, and sometimes they'll just be following the crowd, and I'll be just confused sitting over here thinking, dude, that's not even what you want. And sometimes I just sit them down, give them a proper talk on what they want to be and what they have to do so that they are themselves.
Before we take a few questions from the students, how were the front row audience? Were they attentive? They did a good job asking you questions?
So one final question from my end, to wrap up the first row, right? We're not as boring as we seem, so I thought we'd make a fun one. half inspired by Nishant, really. So, and my new friends over here. So, to each person sitting over there, I'd like you to share either your favorite dad joke or your favorite meme. The dad joke was Nishant's idea.
No.
Just kidding. It was there, right?
Well, I think that's not something appropriate here.
You don't look at memes. Really? Okay.
Yeah, Nanjapa has one, I think.
Okay, please.
That joke, nothing inappropriate. Okay. So, why does the golfer carry 2 pants? Because he got a hole in one. Damn you, Ved. Damn you, damn. Nothing bad. Damn you, Ved. Damn you, Ved.
Others,
I think this is the best part of the Harvard alumni. Yeah, you guys can see it.
We got into Harvard.
Check. Okay, so this happened to me once, and I was about to cry, right? There was a serious situation going on. Something is happening, I don't know. I just enter the room, my dad is telling something to my mom, and I'm asking, what happened? Straight into my eyes, my dad is looking, and he goes like, fog. Fog is happening, that's an advertisement.
You have a question, Nishant?
I've heard Karthik Shenoy cracks very good dad jokes.
What?
Karthik Shenoy cracks very good dad jokes.
Where is Karthik? Karthik, you haven't asked a single question. I mean, how bad can you get?
So I have a question. It's not a joke. Who's that? I'm going to talk to you a little later. I know where you live. So, suppose all these Harvard alumni gave you a time capsule, and there were only 2 settings. One was get $1 million today and a Harvard degree. Or the other setting is you get all the knowledge in the world, but you're now 20 years older. Which one would you choose and why? Okay, that's a bad joke.
No, that's a wonderful question. Very philosophical. Karthik, can you repeat it? They want you to repeat it.
Okay. So you're given a time capsule where you can go forward, let's say, 20 years. You have an option to switch between 2 options. You get only one option, obviously. The first one is you're given $1 million and a Harvard degree today. And the other option is you get all the knowledge in the world. Which option will you choose? But you're 20 years older as soon as you switch.
I think there's no point if I don't get to apply that knowledge even after taking it and going ahead 20 years. And I think whatever Dr. Gokul Madhavan, the keynote he gave today, I think it captures an essence of that about the process. So if I go back to Harvard and get the degree from there, one thing is whatever knowledge I get. Another thing is, as we were discussing on the table with you, Karthik sir, so about getting the network and meeting different people, I think that is far more valuable, and that will itself take me 20 years ahead instead of physically aging.
Okay.
I'd choose option 1. No, option 2. Which one was?
Option 2 is where you have all the knowledge in the world, but you don't have the Harvard degree and the $1 million.
The brain one. I'd choose the brain one.
The brain? Okay.
The knowledge one. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because even if you get a Harvard degree, your brain will still be blank. You'll still be stuck on 2 into 2. So it doesn't make sense to get a Harvard degree for nothing. So I'd rather get knowledge and then do nothing and chill.
What about the $1 million?
Oh, well, you have knowledge, you can make money.
Do you want to answer that question? I think let Shabri ask the last question.
Do I have to? You have. Let the ones who want to ask. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Hridan. I think it's okay. The question is very simple. In your opinion, who should succeed you as school captain?
So I'm not the one who makes decisions here. So like, I don't know. I think
Time to be diplomatic, Hridan.
I don't know the person, but anyone who should be the next school captain. I think go forward with a vision. Don't just take the badge because it's a good addition to your college portfolio. And trust me, there'll be a lot of work, 90-hour work weeks. But please have a good vision, have some good idea, innovate, make change, and let everyone be happy in the school. So that would be the better school captain next year.
I have a question for the speakers. What makes a good portfolio? Because a lot of people end up doing randomest things. They participate in things just for the sake of portfolio. What makes a good portfolio? For the speakers, I'm turning the tables around.
Also, please add on about what have you done to get into Harvard?
I think, Meghna ma'am, you can start.
Yeah.
Sriram sir, don't deny you went to IIM.
So these are long conversations that we can have at another time, but I'll clip it, forget Harvard, forget IIM. I think what makes a person, like you said, portfolio, you can objectify a human being as a portfolio, but when you're most authentic, when you really care about what you do, when you feel for what you do, I think you don't have to say much. People can sense it, and that's what makes you you, and that's a great portfolio. And I want some of the students to ask questions.
I have a question for Nanjapa. Your words about patriotism were incredibly moving. So,
Slow down. Ask the question slowly.
Yeah. In India, there are like around 2% of minority, so non-dominant religions. So, do you feel that the voice of these ostracized communities matter?
Well, to start off, I like that word Ved used, ostracized. I feel that it's unnoticed, that word, but it could have much, much broader implications. And yeah, I think religious minorities in India are a huge problem because, yeah, they do get ostracized most of the time from society. They do not get equal representation.
Requesting everyone to please pay attention to the answer. If you ask a question, please pay attention as well.
They do not get equal representation in job opportunities. And they face plenty of adversities as well. And as a result of this, they get stigmatized, and a lot of the youth end up committing atrocities, which will land them in juvenile detention centers. So yeah, great question, Ved.
Ved, can I add on to that? I think none of the voices matter. In the country, none of the voices matter. And that is because when I went to Singapore for my vacation this year, I saw one interesting thing. So there's this street there. So here, there will be the masjid, there will be the mandir, the church, the gurudwara, the temple, like everything together in one line. And they also have this, like, it's very interesting, like in India you cannot, I mean, just forget having that. In Singapore there's this land which they have blocked, and if anyone wants to ever do a protest, they have to go to that land and raise their voices. Now why is that important is because voice matters, not the quantity, not how much people, because half of the time the voices are either for votes, it's either for creating havoc for popularity, and people don't have any development, they just forget everything. So I think Singapore is not also dictatorship, but it also knows how to control it. So not all voices matter, the quality voice matters.
Sorry, I'm going to ask a question now. Ridan, to you. Who decides who has quality voice? How do we recognize the importance of a voice?
I think it's always in front of our eyes. There are metrics through which we get to know which voice is important and which voice is not important. If a country is spending a lot of media attention, lot of journalism, lot of funds, lot of public servants in the agenda that they want to build a religious building somewhere, and they're going to fight over that issue for years, then that is not a quality voice. The issue that maybe some group is being disrespected, it should be addressed differently, but voices should be heard, but there is a certain extent to which you can convert that voice into action. When every voice is being heard, every person is being given the right, we often get lost and in taking the right decision, because in order to gain something, you have to sacrifice something. And that is, I think, Nanjaba was talking about the judiciary in India, which needs a lot of reforms. I think even when the 26/11 attack happened in India, according to the Indian constitution, even the prime victim, the terrorist, even though there was clear footage that the person has committed the crime, it was very, very evident because the officers arrested the person. The person was still granted a high-level Supreme Court lawyer for a couple of number of years. You respect the right of the person, but that does not mean that when the crime is so evident in front of you and you just listen to that voice even when you know it's the wrong thing.
Okay. How did they do? Did they keep you all engaged? So this is their first time. They were nervous. They were not sure whether we should do this panel or not. Their question was, can we also have the adults on stage? We don't want us to be alone. Can we have few of us and few of them? I said, no, it's your voice, your story. And we are here for you, so we want to hear what you said. And I think you all did an excellent job. And you can see, because everybody is still attentive, nobody is dozing off. Thank you. We had an excellent first day, and we look forward to tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, panelists. A big round of applause to all the panelists on stage.